11 Vocabulary. 11.1 Family and relationships. I look up to my older brother. Look up to somebody. Have respect and admiration for someone. They brought up their children to be polite and respectful. Bring up somebody, bring somebody up. Opening square bracket. Care for a child and teach them how to behave. You're lucky that you take after your intelligent mother. Take after somebody. Opening square bracket. Have characteristics of a parent or relative. It is important to grow up in a caring environment. Grow up. Opening square bracket. Develop from a child to an adult. 40. She got along with her colleagues. Get along with somebody, get on with somebody. Opening square bracket. Have a positive relationship with somebody. My siblings fell out with each other for a few years. Fall out with somebody. Stop being friends with somebody, often after an argument. We fell in love while we were traveling across Europe together. Fall in love with somebody. Begin to love somebody. I broke up with him after a big argument. Break up with somebody. End a romantic relationship. They drifted apart after they stopped working for the same company. Drift apart. Opening square bracket. Slowly become less friendly or close to somebody. I made friends with her a long time ago. Make friends with somebody. Become friendly with a person. We've been close friends for more than 20 years. Close friend. Opening square bracket. A friend who you know very well. I am really surprised by how much we have in common. Have something in common. Share an interest or opinion. My sister gave birth to a baby girl a few months ago. Give birth to somebody. Have a child. Curly hair runs in the family. Run in the family. Opening square bracket. Be a common feature of a family. We used to fight a lot, but we see eye to eye nowadays. See eye to eye with somebody. Agree with or have similar opinions to somebody. As soon as I met Tom, we just clicked. Click with somebody. Like somebody quickly and easily. We bumped into her teacher in the supermarket. Bump into somebody. Meet someone unexpectedly. My dad is putting his foot down about doing chores. Put your foot down. Be strict about something. Our parents taught us to stick up for each other at school. Stick up for somebody. Speak out in support of somebody. I think the world of my first grandchild. Think the world of somebody. Have a very high opinion of somebody. 30. 49. 12 Using discourse markers. Discourse markers can be used to show a relationship between two sentences or parts of a sentence. This can be cause, effect, emphasis, contrast, or comparison. New language linking information are vocabulary, family, history, new skill talking about relationships. 12.1 Key language informal linking discourse markers. Some discourse markers are mostly used in informal writing and speech. Shows contrast. Tip. To emphasize the relationship between words when speaking, you can add stress to the discourse marker. 50. I like listening to music. Though my mother hates it. Shows comparison. He's a talented swimmer. Like just as his great-grandfather was. Shows cause. Staying in touch is easy. Because since we all have smartphones. As. Shows effect. We grew up together, so we tell each other everything. We are very close. As a result, we know everything about each other. Shows emphasis. Especially. All my siblings are tall. My older sister. 12.2 Rewrite these pairs of sentences using the discourse markers to connect them. Julie likes her older brother. She doesn't see him very often. Opening square bracket. But. Julie likes her older brother, but she doesn't see him very often. All my siblings love playing football. My brother loves it the most. Opening square bracket. Especially. 2 We are all quite interested in our family history. We've made a family tree. Opening square bracket. So. Right pointing arrow. I love talking to my aunt. She has lots of interesting stories from her travels abroad. Opening square bracket. Because my grandmother thinks I should get married. I am not as traditional as she is. Opening square bracket. But we don't have big family gatherings very often. My grandparents live abroad. Opening square bracket. Since 12.3 listen to the audio and match the pairs of pictures. C. D. 51. 12.4 Key language formal linking discourse markers. Some discourse markers are used most often in formal writing and speaking situations. 52. 22. Shows contrast. The castle was built in 1272. Whereas yet, the town is modern. Shows comparison. His talk was popular and his book was similarly well liked. Equally, shows cause. International video calls are popular due to owing to shows effect. Global internet access. Many foreigners settled there. Hence, therefore, the population is bilingual. Shows emphasis. He is known for his research, primarily, notably, into royal families. 12.5 Fill in the gaps using formal discourse markers. James won many medals, notably, one for bravery. Elizabeth had 2 children. 2 The 2 elderly sisters were. 3 The father left the army. 4 James and Tom were identical twins. Mary had none. Wealthy. A serious arm injury. They looked alike. 12.6 Say each sentence out loud, using the most appropriate discourse marker. I like sandwiches, whereas, but the rest of my family are big pizza fans. You have failed to respond to our messages. So, hence, your subscription has been cancelled. My friends say I take after my dad, owing to, because we both like mountain biking. After a successful book tour, the professor's lectures were equally, well received. I love my aunts, notably, especially Mira, because she's so funny. 12.7 Read the advertisement and answer the questions. It is less difficult to explore your family history than it used to be. True. False. You have to go to the library to use the service. True. False. J. W. S. great-grandfather died in battle. True. False. On. H. Enjoys socializing more than her parents. True. False. False. The service has an annual $20 fee. True. Genealogy okay. T has never been easier to great-grandmother was. History. Millions of family records, including births, deaths, marriages, as well as military and emigration records, are now available online. As a result, you can now find your ancestors from the comfort of your home. All of this and more can be discovered if you join our Genealogy OK Club for only $20 a month. Here are 2 of our members' stories. I thought that all my family were pacifists, like me. It turns out that a spy and her young husband was a heroic soldier who died in combat. J. W. I've always wondered animal personality, since where I get my party my mother and father are quite quiet. I've discovered that my great-grandmother and her sister were well-known socialites in years gone by. N. H. 12 Checklist. Linking information. RR family history. Talking about relationships. 53. 13 Past habits and states. When you talk about habits or states in the past you can use used to or would. English often uses these forms to contrast the past with the present. 13.1 Key language, used to. You can use used to with an infinitive to. Talk about past habits. Refers to a past habit. New language, used to, and would. Are vocabulary family values. New skill contrasting the past with the present. We used to play tennis every day, but now we prefer golf. You can also use it to talk about fixed states at some indefinite time in the past. Past refers to a past state. Now. We used to live in London before we moved to Sydney. Past. Now. 13.2 Further examples. Used to. Did you use to ride a scooter? When you were a student? Used becomes use in the question and negative forms. I didn't use to believe in ghosts until I visited a haunted house. 13.3 Another way to say used to with habits. You can also use would to talk about past habits. It is a little bit more formal. When I was little, we would go for a picnic every Saturday. Whenever there was soccer on TV, we just wouldn't do our homework. 54. 13.4 A common mistakes used to. You cannot use used to when you're talking about definite time frames in the past, or if you said you did something a certain number of times. We used to play lots of board games when I was young. We used to play lots of board games yesterday. We used to play board games 20 times. 13.5 Fill in the gaps using the words in brackets. Whenever my uncle visited, he would bring my grandmother's house, opening parenthesis, would bring presents for us all, opening parenthesis. Used to walk 5 miles to school and back, opening parenthesis. Not used to, like using the internet, but now I think it's great, opening parenthesis. Do you 5 Whenever I had a toothache, my dad, opening parenthesis. Used to eat your lunch at school, opening parenthesis. Not used to have electricity, opening parenthesis. Would take me to a scary dentist. 13.6 Rewrite the highlighted phrases, correcting the errors used to be. When my grandmother tells me about how things did used to be, I realize how lucky I was as a child. I used to complain about having to walk to school in the rain, whereas she would to walk 5 miles to school in all types of weather, including snow. I used to got upset when a teacher told me off in class. I had usually done something really bad, but my grandmother didn't used to do anything bad. She used to wrote with her left hand, but back then, teachers will be punish you just for that. 55. 13.7 Listen to the audio and answer the questions. Rui and Livia are having a debate about changing family values. What does Rui say about young people? They don't watch movies anymore. They watch movies on their own. They don't go to the movies anymore. What does Livia say about families? They don't watch movies together. They still watch movies on the TV. They go to the movies together. 2 What beneficial internet content does Livia mention? Documentaries and old movies. Documentaries and news archives. Documentaries and new movies. Oro. Where does Rui think young people used to get their values from? Older family members. Movies. The internet. What does Livia say young people think about honesty? It's very important to them. It's not that important anymore. It's important for adults to be honest. 6 What does Livia say is important in today's world? Understanding historical values. Communicating with other people. Understanding other people's values. 5000. 13.8 Read the clues and write the answers in the correct places on the grid. Agreeing with or tolerating something. 2 Telling the truth. What a person believes is right or wrong. Wanting more things than you really need. 6 The qualities of someone's personality to say or do something that stops another person's actions. 4. 3. C. C. E. R. T. A. N. C. E. 56. Values. Character. Acceptance. Interrupt. Greedy. Honesty. 13.9 Read the blog post and write answers to the questions as full sentences. Researching my roots. Home eye entries, about eye contact. A long-lost brother. A few years ago, my grandfather told me about a brother who he hadn't seen in a very long time. They lost touch over 50 years ago while they were both serving in the army overseas. I decided that I would try to find my great-uncle, the brother who my grandfather used to talk about so fondly. I was in the library when I met a man called Robert who was also researching his family history. His grandfather also had a brother he hadn't seen for 50 years. The more we talked, the more similarities we had. Our grandfathers had both become HORDAN TA teachers after they left the army. We realized after talking for an hour that our grandfathers were brothers. Astonishingly, they lived less than 20 miles apart from each other, and even used to live on the very same street. Last week my grandfather and my great-uncle met again for the first time in half a century. When did the author's grandfather and great-uncle lose touch? They lost touch over 50 years ago while they were both serving in the army overseas. Why did the author and Robert start talking? What similarities did the author's grandfather and Robert's grandfather have? Why was it surprising that the author's grandfather and great-uncle hadn't met in 50 years? What happened last week? 13. Checklist. Used to, and, would. Are our family values. Contrasting the past with the present. 57. 14. Comparing and contrasting. Using, as. As is a very flexible way to make comparisons. You can use it to compare and contrast quantities and qualities of people, objects, situations, and ideas. 14.1 Key language, as. As, comparisons. New language, as. As comparisons. Our vocabulary adjective noun collocations new skill comparing and contrasting. You can use, as. As with an adjective to compare things that are similar and, not as. As or, not so. As to contrast things that are different. Lisa is as tall as Mark. As. Penny is not tall as Mark. So. 14.2 Further examples, as. As, comparisons. You can modify the, as. As structure to make it more detailed or to add emphasis. 58. Emphasizing equality. Bottled water is just as expensive as coffee. Comparing similarity. The girls were almost as loud as the boys. This has a very similar meaning to almost as but contrasts. The difference rather than comparing the similarity. The movie is not quite as good as the book. Specific degree of difference. The bike is half as long as the car. Emphasizing difference. The mouse is nowhere near as big as the bird. 14.3 Look at the pictures and make a modified, as. As, comparison, speaking out loud. The cat is not as big as the dog. The phone is expensive. The laptop. The giraffe is tall. The baby is the house. Old. The man. The flower is large. The pizza is the tree. Wide. The plate. 14.4 Key language, as. As, comparisons with adverbs. You can also use the, as. As structure with adverbs, often followed by expressions of ability or possibility. I don't visit as often as my sister. He arrived as early as he could. We sang as loudly as possible. The boys study as hard as the girls. 14.5 Listen to the audio and answer the questions. Which is more expensive? The soup. The steak. Which is funnier? The old video, the new video. 2. Which is faster? The motorcycle, the car. Which is bigger? The old house, the new house. 4. Who is smarter? Simon, Andrew. 5. How frequently does Akiko visit now? More often, less often. 59. 14.6. Read the article and answer the questions. The young baby's father is called dot dot Sam, Zach, John. The mother of the baby is dot dot a teacher, a lawyer, unemployed. The person on parental leave from work is dot dot Sam, Zach, John. 3. When Samantha walks to work it takes dot dot 35 minutes, 40 minutes, 45 minutes. Oh, Samantha does not walk to work if the weather is dot 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 cold, windy, rainy. 6. Most days Samantha walks to work dot dot alone, with a friend, with her family. Her friends and family think her decision is dot dot stupid, good, bad. Family life, a different approach. The surprise benefits of shared parental leave, by Samantha Pope. T. He knew shared parental leave law is great for my family. As a lawyer I earn twice as much as my husband, John, who is a teacher. This meant that we were going to pay a high price for me taking a career break at this time. I returned to work quite soon after our baby, Zach, was born, and John has taken parental leave from his work to be at home. Of course, I still share lots of time with Zach. Because John is a heavy sleeper, I wake up to do nighttime duties. This does make me a bit tired, but a strong coffee in the morning and a quick walk to work, unless there's heavy rain, normally wakes me up. In the morning, John and Zach usually walk with me through the park. We were surprised to discover that this 40-minute walk is actually almost as quick as me driving the car in heavy traffic at rush hour. I was worried that my friends and family would have a low opinion of me going back to work as soon as I did, but in the end everyone agreed with us. RR 14.7. Fill in the gaps using the words in the panel. To create collocations. Every time I walk to work I get caught in heavy rain. Filled circle. Thankfully, our baby is a sleeper and only wakes once a night. Traffic. Tip. Words that collocate with an adjective often collocate with its opposite. For example, heavy rain and light rain. Single quote. 60. Greater than the commute to work takes ages, even when there is. Feeling sick every day is a. I only really wake up in the morning after a. Price to pay for going on a cruise. Coffee. My mother has a. Opinion. Of anyone who doesn't work hard. Heavy. Strong. High. Low. Heavy. Light. 14.8. Fill in the gaps using the words in the panel. Alex and Sue are both chefs. Sue owns a cafe and Alex works in a famous restaurant. Sue's cooking is just as good. Alex's, maybe even better, although his cooking is mostly savory and she has a sweet tooth. Unfortunately, just because her food costs much. Some people do not have as an opinion of her skills. Her cafe is seen as somewhere with prices to grab a bite to eat, not somewhere to wine and dine. Sue says this is a small price to pay for owning her own business. Some people just like to go out of their way to pay much. They should. For a 3-course meal in Alex's restaurant, rather than enjoy a delicious piece of cake or pastry in Sue's cafe. As, half as, high as, twice as, low as, just as. RR 14.9. Match the definitions to the phrases. 2. A meal with 3 parts, often an appetizer, main, and dessert. A liking for sweet-tasting things. Get food that can be eaten quickly. 3. Entertain or treat someone to an expensive meal. Salty or spicy rather than sweet. Make a special effort to do something. Savory. Wine and dine 3-course meal. Go out of your way. Sweet tooth. Grab a bite to eat. 14. Checklist. As. As comparisons. Are adjective noun collocations. Comparing and contrasting. 61. 15 two comparatives together. You can use two comparatives in a sentence to show the effect of an action. You can also use them to show that something is changing. New language, two comparatives together are vocabulary, age and population. New skill expressing cause, effect, and change. 15.1 key language, two comparatives together. You can make comparisons that show cause and effect by using two comparatives in one sentence. The harder I train, the stronger I get. Implies that training causes you to get stronger. 15.2 further examples, two comparatives together. At XX. The worse the children behave, the angrier the teacher gets. The louder the cat meows, the louder the dog barks. 15.3 how to form two comparatives together. THE. Comparative expression. Subject. Verb. THE. Comparative expression. Subject. Verb. The harder train, the stronger get. 62. The 15.4 rewrite the sentences, putting the words in the correct order. Terrified. He more drives. Become faster. The faster he drives, the more terrified I become. Longer. Went the more the film on board I became. Quicker it more the rained, the vegetables grew. 3. Me more not the she that a laugh told more laughed. It desert the contains is for sugar more the worse you. 15.5 rewrite the sentences, correcting the errors. I've noticed that the less I sleep, grumpier I am. I've noticed that the less I sleep, the grumpier I am. The louder my music is, the more angrier my mother gets. Greater than the young the skier is, the less frightened they are of falling. The annoyed my teacher gets, more I giggle nervously. Diamond's suit faster the car went, louder the passengers screamed. 63. 15.6 another way to use two comparatives together. 15.7 match the questions to the correct answers. Double comparatives that end with the better can be made shorter by losing the subjects and the verbs. When do you want your appointment? The bigger, the better. How do you? The stronger. Like your tea? The better. How many guests should we invite? The sooner the better. What size engine do? Can I bring my brother along? Sure. The more the merrier. You want? The stronger the better. This expression means people are welcome. What type of coffee do you like? The more the merrier. 15.8 key language, two comparatives together. A comparative can be repeated to show that something is changing. The weather is getting colder and colder. The repetition emphasizes that the change is ongoing. 64. 15.9 read the article and answer the questions. People are living longer than they used to. True. False. Not given. There are fewer babies being born these days. True. False. Not given. Oh, pensions and social care will cost nations more. True. False. Not given. A younger workforce is more experienced. True. False. Not given. Retired people have more time to do charity work. True. False. Not given. Your health. We're all living longer and longer. Life expectancy has risen around the world. Land older people make up a larger and larger proportion of the population in many countries. An aging population can cause challenges such as increasing pension and social care costs. However, there are also potential benefits. The older a workforce is, the more skills and experience it has. Also, as people live longer after retirement, they can offer more time to good causes such as volunteering for charity. 15.10 Listen to the audio and write answers to the questions in full sentences. A radio station is reporting. On aging populations. What two reasons are mentioned for people living longer? The news report mentions improved healthcare and improved standards of living. What economic issue do aging populations lead to? In the first suggested solution, who is responsible for people's care in old age? Right pointing arrow in the second suggested solution, who is responsible for people's care in old age? Diamond suit. What is the third suggested solution? 15. Checklist. Two comparatives together. Are age and population. Expressing cause, effect, and change. Review the English you have learned in Units 12 to 15. New language. Informal linking discourse markers. Formal linking discourse markers. Used to, and, would. As. Dot. Dot. As. Comparisons. Two comparatives together. Sample sentence. I like listening to music, but my mother hates it. The castle is ancient, whereas the town is modern. We used to live in London before we moved to Sydney. Whenever my uncle visited, he would bring us presents. Lisa is as tall as Mark. The harder I train, the better I get. The weather is getting colder and colder. Unit 12.1, 12.4, 13.1, 13.3, 14.1, 15.1, 15.6, 15.8, 65, 16 vocabulary, 16.1 studying. My daughter took a year off before starting university. Take a year off. US. Take a year out. UK. Opening square bracket. Have a year away from education or work. My brother enrolled in an accounting course this week. Enroll in. US. Enroll on. UK. Opening square bracket. Register to start something. 66. The college provides housing for undergraduates. Undergraduate. Someone studying for a first degree at college or university. She is a graduate student of biochemistry. Graduate. US. Postgraduate. UK. Opening square bracket. Study carried out following graduation from a first degree. When I was a freshman, everything seemed so exciting. Freshman. US. Fresher. UK. Opening square bracket. A student in their first year at college or university. I will be the first person in my family to get a degree. Get a degree. Opening square bracket. Be awarded a qualification after college or university. I was so nervous before I took my driving test, but I passed. Take a test. Take an exam. Answer questions or perform actions to show how much you know about something. Make sure you plan ahead. You have to write 4 essays this semester. Semester. US. Term. UK. Opening square bracket. A period of time in an academic calendar during which classes are held. It is very important to attend classes regularly and keep notes. Attend classes. Go to lessons or lectures. My tutors give me regular feedback on my projects. Give someone feedback on something. Opening square bracket. Provide comments and advice on how somebody is doing something. I worked late last night to meet the deadline for this report. Meet a deadline. Opening square bracket. Finish something within a given time. He's so unreliable. He's always missing deadlines for projects. Miss a deadline. Opening square bracket. Fail to finish something within a given time. We have continuous assessment, not final exams. Continuous assessment. Grading based on work done over a long period. You can't draw a comparison between then and now. Draw a comparison between. Point out similarities between things. The essay asked us to compare the similarities between the countries. Compare similarities. Consider and describe how things are alike. We looked at 2 pictures and contrasted the differences. Contrast differences. Consider and describe how things differ from each other. Their views on this subject are polar opposites. Polar opposite. Completely different. There is a clear distinction between these projects. Clear distinction. An obvious difference. For twins, their interests are strikingly different. Strikingly different. Surprisingly not alike. Your hard work has made a world of difference this year. A world of difference. Opening square bracket. A significant level of difference. 67. 17. Taking notes. Discourse markers can help you to organize language, to make it easier for the listener or reader to follow. Listening for them is very useful when taking notes. New language organizing information are vocabulary academic life new skill taking notes. 17.1 Key language formal organizing discourse markers. Some discourse markers indicate what is coming next. They help organize paragraphs and longer passages of formal text. Sequencing markers can help you order information. First, it is important to consider which courses you want to study. Some markers introduce new or additional points. Moreover, you should bear in mind where you want to study. Other markers highlight examples. For instance, you should consider if you want to study abroad. Conclusion markers are used when summing up. In conclusion, several factors will affect your choice of college. Tip: discourse markers often go at the beginning of a clause or sentence. RR 17.2 Read the leaflet and put the discourse markers in categories. 68. International options. Why study abroad? IRST, it is easier to learn a foreign language abroad. You can enjoy other aspects of the country's culture such as the food and music. Second, you can get a global perspective on your subject. Additionally, universities abroad may specialize in different subjects. Furthermore, your university base may act as a springboard for further travel in the region. For example, a Korean base could lead to more Asian travel. Overall, there are many cultural and educational reasons to study abroad. To sum up, study abroad opens doors. Sequencing first. Adding. Additionally. Examples such as concluding. Overall. 68. 17.3 Cross out the incorrect words in each sentence. Some universities are known globally, for example, secondly Yale and Oxford. Others, additionally, such as Sydney University and Toronto, are renowned for their stunning historical buildings. Moreover, to sum up, there are newer universities like Moscow and Xiamen that have equally impressive buildings. For instance, next, Moscow State University is incredibly impressive at night. Third, additionally, a number of modern university buildings in Australia are spectacular. Such as, overall, there are some amazing educational buildings around the world. To sum up, first, it can be worth your time to look at educational buildings, even if you are visiting as a tourist. 17.4 Listen to the audio and answer the questions. A talk is being given about Welcome Week, when college students arrive for the first time. Classes start on Monday in 2 weeks. True. False not given. Clubs are free to join during Welcome Week. True false not given. You will need your ID to register. True false not given. Right pointing arrow You can find all the books on your book list in the library. True false. Not given. Your library card can be used in the cafeteria. True false not given. You should tell your academic department about accommodation problems. True false not given. 17.5 Key language informal organizing discourse markers. You can use a number of general discourse markers to move from one topic to another in conversational English. Here, right, gets attention before saying something important. Right, let's get started. Dot, 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 dot. Here, okay, acknowledges that you have heard the other speaker. Okay, and are you happy with your choice? Here, so, indicates that you are reaching a conclusion. Dot, dot, Dot. So, I think we agree overall. 69. 17.6 Key language. The zero conditional. You can use the zero conditional to if you study every day, you learn more quickly. Talk about things that are generally or always true. When can sometimes be used instead of if. Single quote. When you sign up for a club, you meet new people. Unless means if. Dot. Dot. Not. Single quote opening parenthesis. If you don't have a lot of money, don't join every club. Closing parenthesis. Unless you have a lot of money, don't join every club. 70. 17.7 Match the beginnings of the sentences to the correct endings. When you join the photography club, you must pay to play tennis. 2. If you are a history student. 3. If you join the water sports club, you can join today. You can join the historical society. Unless you need more time to think. Unless you join the club. You can exhibit your own work. You can learn how to sail. 17.8 Fill in the gaps using the words in the panel. If you try to write every word, you get lost very quickly. If you hear markers, use them to help organize your notes. Greater than when you take notes. Discourse. Review. Make a simple shorthand with symbols and abbreviations. 3. If your handwriting is messy, try to, unless you record every lecture, try to get sure it is readable. Use your notes soon after. 17.9 Listen to the lecture and choose the best summary notes. Before start the course. Dot. Dot. More information on taking notes at university. Spoken already about tips and advice, but a little about passive and active note-taking differences. If have handout and listen to lecture and underline something equals not actively engaging in the lecture. Recording lecture, borrowing friends' notes equals not engaging in the lecture. Trying to write every word from lecture equals passively note-taking. Passive and active note-taking. June 17th. Passive note-taking examples. 1. Underlining. 2. Recording. 3. Borrowing notes. 4. Writing down everything. Doesn't save time in the end because can't remember what said. Lecture notes from June 17th. Passive note-taking is not actively engaging in the lecture. If you sit and record the lecture or borrow your friend's notes, then you are not fully engaging. It is still passive note-taking, even if you try to write down every word from the lecture. 17.10 Listen to the rest of the lecture and write notes as you listen. Active note-taking examples. 17 Checklist. Organizing information. Academic life. Taking notes. 71. 18 Speaking approximately. English has a number of useful phrases to describe approximate quantities and amounts. You can use them when a number is unknown or roughly accurate. 18.1 Key language approximate quantities. New language generalization. Vocabulary approximate quantity phrases. New skill talking about numbers. If you have specific figures, it may be useful to give them. However, you may need to use more general terms if you do not have the figures or you want to avoid repetition. 3 out of 15 students live off campus. In some cases, students live off campus. Some is a very unspecific word. The only numbers it could not mean in this example are none, 1, or 15. 18.2 Further examples. Approximate quantities. A minority is less than half, but often refers to much less than half. In a minority of cases. In a few cases. Employers provide funding for education. Most and majority refer to more than half. In most cases. In the majority of cases. Students can contact their professors online. These unspecific references could mean a majority or minority of cases. In some cases. In a number of cases. Students can live in dorms on campus. Tip, minority, and Majority are often qualified, for example, small minority or vast majority. Single quote. 72. 18.3 Listen to the audio and number the infographics in the order they are mentioned. 17. D. 18.4 Key language approximate statistics. You can make statistics more general by modifying them with words such as approximately, well, or just. Single quote. Approximately half of the students are from Europe. Just under a third of the assessment consists of coursework. Well over 50% of the course is online. 18.5 Cross out the incorrect words in each sentence. 52% approximately, well over half of the students are male. 0.97% The vast minority of the lecture halls have wireless internet access. Greater than 27% Just, well over a quarter of classes are recorded for students to listen to online. 85% after 1 week. Some people know their way around campus. 4% Only a huge, tiny minority of our students do not have smartphones. 672% Well over, under half of our students eat a hot meal on campus. 67% Just over, under 2/3 of our professors can speak 2 languages. 73. 74. 18.6 Key language surprising numbers. Certain expressions are used to show that a particular number or quantity is surprising. 100. 4xxx 4x 222. 22. Filled square xxxxx. This indicates that €100 is a surprisingly large amount of money. Other universities charge as much as €100 for this service. This indicates that $5 is a surprisingly small amount of money. For as little as $5 per semester, you can join the club. This indicates that 25 is a surprisingly large number of events. There are as many as 25 free student events each month. This indicates that 2 is a surprisingly small number of days. The library is generally closed for as few as 2 days a month. 18.7 Read the leaflet and answer the questions. Just over 50% of the courses are international standard. True. False. Undergraduates also learn important research skills. False. True. Right pointing arrow You must join a club to use the sports facilities. True. False. Right pointing arrow You can join a club that encourages the discussion of political issues. True. False. Over 50% of the students live on campus. True. False. Right pointing arrow The university does not provide any graduate level courses for students. True. False. Why study with us? Academic excellence We are one of the top 20 colleges in the country in terms of teaching quality, with the vast majority of our courses rated as international standard. Our undergraduates come from all over the world, attracted by our outstanding teaching and research guidance. Superb facilities We strive to ensure that you have a first-class student experience. Our excellent sports facilities are open to all and include an Olympic-size swimming pool. For those interested in the arts, we have a successful drama department, an art gallery, and a multi-screen cinema. We have as many as 40 different sport, cultural, political, and volunteering clubs to choose from. Accommodation In most cases, our students prefer to live on campus. In other cases, however, students may wish to live off campus. Our friendly accommodation team can also help with this. Careers Our Career Development Center can help with your present and future career choices. Approximately half our students continue to pursue a graduate level course with us. Our dedicated team can help you make the best choice for your future. 18.8 Key language questioning generalizations. One polite way of showing that you disagree with a generalization is to question it. Use questions like, is that so? Really? Is that right? And, are you sure? Before challenging a generalization. I've been told that the campus is very unwelcoming and quiet. Is that so? My experience has not been like that at all. You can disagree with the comment after your question. 18.9 responds to the audio, speaking out loud and questioning the generalizations with facts from the leaflet in 18.7. All the students come from the same country. Is that right? I read that there were students from all over the world there. There isn't much to do there. Really? The accommodation is really poor. Is that so? They don't offer you any advice for after you have graduated. Are you sure? 18 checklist. Generalization. Are approximate quantity phrases. Talking about numbers. 75. 19 changing emphasis. There are a number of ways that you can change emphasis in English. One way is to use a less common grammatical structure, such as the passive voice. 19.1 Key language. The passive voice. In a passive sentence, the emphasis is taken away. New language. The passive voice. Are vocabulary. Online learning. The focus is on the many people. New skill. Changing sentence emphasis. From the agent. The person. Many people studied the book. Or thing doing the action, comma, and put on the action itself. Or the person or object receiving it. Dot. The subject of the active verb is the people. Single quote. The book was studied by many people. The focus is on the book. The subject of the passive verb is the book. Single quote. 19.2 When to use the passive voice. The passive is used when the agent is obvious, unknown, or unimportant. It is also useful when describing a process where the result of the action is important. The agent is not specified because the verb obviously refers to the police. Hopefully, the thief will be arrested soon. The agent is not specified because it is unknown. Sarah's laptop was stolen from the library. The agent is not specified because it is the process that is important, not who did it. The posters are printed on good quality paper. 19.3 How to form the passive voice. To form the passive, use, be. With the past subject, be, participle, use. Use different forms of be for the past, continuous, future, and perfect forms of the passive. Past participle. By, when you want to show the agent. 76. Was. The book. Was being will be had been. Studied. By. By many people. 19.4 Read the text and choose the best summary. The rise of online learning. Massive open online courses. MOOCs. Are open to anyone, anywhere, and often have subscriptions in the thousands. Millions of people around the world are currently taking part in MOOCs and studying everything from digital photography through to engineering and science. The courses are free, though you may have to pay for a certificate to prove that you have taken the course. Millions of people are being enrolled onto each MOOC. MOOCs are being taken online by millions of people. MOOCs will be being taken by thousands of people. 19.5 Cross out the incorrect words in each sentence. Many of the students could be affected by the changes. Filled circle English is speaks by millions of people across the world. Greater than online courses are being studied by a variety of students. Right pointing arrow The courses are being paid for by a number of universities. Certificates can print out at home by participants. Right pointing arrow Some exams can be take in several different languages. 19.6 Rewrite the sentences using the passive voice. More than 400 universities across the world offer MOOCs. MOOCs are offered by more than 400 universities across the world. Filled circle People write 80% of the courses in English. 80%. Some universities offer credits for MOOC courses. Credits. Some people provide technical help for the participants. Technical help. Millions of students will take MOOCs next year. Tip: remember that you can sometimes omit the agent if the meaning is still clear. Next year. MOOCs. 77. 19.7 Key language nouns based on phrasal verbs. Some nouns are made from phrasal verbs, often formed by joining the verb and the particle together. When these words are spoken, the stress is usually on the verb. The teacher asked me to hand out the exam papers. Verb. Particle. The teacher gave us a handout containing homework tasks. Sometimes, the noun is formed by putting the particle in front of the verb. In these cases, the spoken stress is usually on the particle. Noun. Oh no. It was sunny and now it's pouring down. The plural is formed by adding an s to the newly formed noun. We have a rainy season with daily downpours. 19.8 match the definitions to the nouns. People who watch something happening without taking part, failure, or a sudden decline in reputation or rank. Severe action taken by an authority to stop a certain activity, extra support or help. A copy of computer data, the act of signing into a computer program or system, time or knowledge that has been put into a project. What remains at the end of eating a meal? Crackdown. Outset. Backup onlookers. Downfall. Leftovers. Input. The act of registering your arrival at a hotel or airport. Login. The beginning or start of something. Check-in. 78. 19.9 Read the article and answer the questions. A very narrow range of courses is provided online nowadays. True. False. Not given. Business management is being studied more than any other subject online. True. False. Not given. With online courses, contributions can be posted at any time. True. False. Not given. Blended learning courses are written by university professors. True. False. Not given. Education Nation. Home entries about contact. Online or face-to-face. AC. You can take a multitude of courses online nowadays. Everything from online yoga through to a master's degree in business management. But what are the pros and cons of online learning and how does it compare with the face-to-face experience? Of course, one major advantage of learning online is that it is often more flexible. You can read and write whenever and wherever you like. Another bonus is that these courses are often cheaper or even free. However, because you are not in the same place as your peers, or even online at the same time, you may miss out on the camaraderie and peer support. Sometimes online learning can be a lonely experience. So, what is the solution? Well, maybe you can have the best of both worlds. With blended learning, you can have some face-to-face lessons while other course content is delivered online. 19.10 Fill in the gaps using the words in the panel, using the correct form and voice. My Italian classes. Delivered. Online, with classes on Fridays. Outset. Deliver. The things we learn are in a weekly online exam. Downfall. Greater than the face-to-face lessons expand on the online course. Right. From the I knew this course would be successful. Crackdown. Lack of motivation has always been the course is in online learning. Log in. By language learning experts. Test. They have made changes to make it easier to your account. Input. There has also been on security to prevent cheating. 19. Checklist. The passive voice. Online learning. Changing sentence emphasis. 79. 20 things that might happen. There are many ways to talk about hypothetical future situations. You can use different structures to indicate whether you think a hypothesis is likely or unlikely. 20.1 Key language likely to happen. If a future outcome is likely to happen, you can use what if, suppose, and in case, followed by the present tense to express it. What if means what would happen. If a hypothetical situation occurred. Single quote. New language, what if, suppose, in case, are vocabulary exams and assessment. New skill talking about hypothetical situations. Present tense shows the speaker believes this is likely to happen. What if I fail my exams? I won't be able to go to college. 20.2 Further examples likely to happen. Suppose refers to the consequences of a hypothetical situation. Suppose they assess our coursework. We will have to keep a portfolio. We should start organizing our project work in case they want to see it. In case refers to being prepared for the hypothetical situation. 80. 20.3 Match the situations to the likely consequences. What if we don't pass our exams? I'm going to take a water bottle. Suppose you cannot afford to study. I am studying really hard tonight. What if I forget to bring a calculator? Maybe you could apply for funding. In case the exam room is hot. Maybe we'll have to take them again. Maybe they will have spares. In case we have a test tomorrow. 20.4 Key language unlikely to happen. If a future outcome is possible, but unlikely to happen, you can also use what if and suppose, followed by the past tense to express it. You can also use just in case with the present tense. The past tense shows the speaker thinks this is unlikely to happen. Just imagine. What if we all passed our exams with perfect scores? 20.5 Further examples unlikely to happen. Suppose and supposing are interchangeable in this context. Suppose I got caught cheating. My parents would be furious. You should apply for a job. Just in case you fail your exams. Just is added to in case to talk about. Preparation for a situation that is less likely. The verb remains in the present tense after just in case. Single quote. 20.6 Mark whether the outcomes are likely or are unlikely. I've studied hard. I'm buying champagne in case I pass all my exams. Likely. Unlikely. Oh, what if she notices that I've copied the essay from the internet? Suppose I won the lottery. I could afford to study abroad. Right pointing arrow. Suppose I write 3 good essays. That will be enough. What if I studied for 14 hours every day from now on? Likely unlikely. Likely unlikely. Likely unlikely. Likely unlikely. 6 Suppose the examiner asks my name in French. What should I say? Likely unlikely. I'm taking 10 pencils to the exam just in case 9 break. Likely unlikely. It's supposed to stop raining, but I'll bring an umbrella in case it doesn't. Likely unlikely. What if I misunderstood all the questions? That would be a disaster. Likely unlikely. 81. 82. 20.7 Key language. The first and second conditionals. First conditional. You can use the first conditional to talk about realistic future results if a realistic condition is fulfilled. If plus present simple. If you study really hard this year, you'll pass your university exams. Will plus infinitive. Second conditional. You can use the second conditional to predict future results if an unlikely condition is fulfilled. If plus past simple. If you went to fewer parties, you would get better results. Would plus infinitive. 20.8 Read the text and answer the questions. Students do not need to remember information for exams. True, false, check mark. Students take 3 exams at the end of the year. True, false. The students currently have continuous assessment. True, false. The author thinks exams are a fair way to assess students. True, false. Students are told that they can encourage change. True, false. Memorizing is not learning. Why are you trying to remember dozens of facts, figures, and quotations? The only reason is so that you can use them in the 12 terrifyingly stressful 3-hour exams that will be the only proof of how much you have learned over the academic year. Suppose it didn't have to be this way. What if you had continuous assessment throughout the year that showed what you can do with the knowledge, rather than how much you can cram into your memory? This can happen if you write to the head of your academic departments and urge them to consider 21st century modes of assessment. Make time and write today. 20.9 Listen to the audio and mark whether each outcome is likely or unlikely. Likely unlikely. Sparse. Likely unlikely. Likely unlikely. 3 Likely unlikely. Likely unlikely. 3. 20.10 Responds to the audio, speaking out loud. Suppose you could live anywhere. Where would you choose? I'd live in my hometown to be near my family. If you could meet any historical leader, who would it be? Supposing you were ruler of the world, what would you do? What will you do next if you pass the exam? 20. Checklist. What if, suppose, in case. Exams and assessment. Talking about hypothetical situations. Review the English you have learned in Units 17 to 20. Sample sentence. New language. Organizing discourse markers. First, it is important to consider which courses you want to study. Unit 17.1. Making generalizations. In some cases, students live off campus. 18.1. The passive voice. Nouns formed from phrasal verbs. Likely and unlikely situations. The book was studied by many people. The teacher gave us a handout. What if I fail my exams? What if we all passed with top grades? 19.1, 19.7, 20.1, 20.4, 83.